tower of strength in emotional crises, but the first to offer help when life got Lindsay into one of its awkward corners. When Lindsay's car staged a breakdown on a remote Greek mountainside, it was Paddy who organised the flying out of a spare part. When Lindsay was made redundant, it was Paddy who found the cousin who told Lindsay the best thing to do with her less-than-golden handshake. And when Lindsay's lover died, it was Paddy who drove through the night to be with her. The daughter of 2 doctors, with an education begun at the best schools and polished off at Oxford, Paddy Callahan had shaken her family by deciding to become an actress. After 4 years of only moderate success and limited employment, however, she had realised she would never make the first rank. Always a realist and fundamentally unaffected by 4 years of living like a displaced person, she reverted to type and decided to make sure that the rising generation of public school girls would have a better grounding on the stage than she'd had. When the 2 women first met, Paddy was halfway through the teacher training that would take her back to her old school in Derbyshire to teach English and drama. It had taken Lindsay quite a long time to realise that at least part of her appeal for Paddy was her streak of unconventionality. She was an antidote to the staid world Paddy had grown up in and was about to return to. Lindsay had argued bitterly with Paddy that to go back to her old environment was copping out of reality. Though the argument never found a solution, the friendship survived. Lindsay felt sure that part of the reason for the continuation of that friendship was that they had never let their separate worlds collide. Just as Lindsay would never drag Paddy off to a gay club, so Paddy would never invite Lindsay to one of her parents' weekend house parties. Their relationship existed in a vacuum because they understood and accepted the gulf that separated so much of their lives. So Lindsay was apprehensive about encountering Paddy in what was firmly her territory. Suddenly all her fears about the weekend crystallised into a panic over the trivial issue of what she was wearing. What the hell was the appropriate gear for this establishment anyway? It wasn't something that normally exercised her thoughts, but she had gone through her wardrobe with nervous care that morning, rejecting most items on the grounds that they were too casual and others on the grounds that they were too formal. She finally settled on charcoal grey trousers, matching jacket and burgundy shirt. Very understated, not too butch, she'd thought. Now she thought again and considered the vision of the archetypal dyke swaggering into this nest of young maidens. God help her if St. George hove into sight. If only she'd brought the car, she could have brought a wide enough selection of clothes to run no risk of getting it wrong. But her crazy decision to opt for the uncertain hands of British Rail so she could get some work done had boomeranged. You could only carry so much for a couple of days, unless you wanted to look like the Wally of the weekend, tipping out at the school gates with 2 cabin trunks and a hold-all. As her paranoia gently reached a climax, she shook herself. Oh, sod it, she thought. If I'm so bloody right on, why should I give a toss what they think of me? After all, I'm the one doing them a favour, giving their fundraising a puff in the right places. With this bracing thought, the train shuddered into the station at Buxton. She picked up her bags and emerged onto the platform just as the sun came out from the autumn clouds, making the trees glow. Then, through the glass doors, she caught sight of Paddy, waiting and waving. Lindsay thrust her ticket at the collector and the 2 women hugged each other, laughing, each measuring the other for changes. If my pupils could see me now, they'd have a fit, laughed Paddy. Teachers aren't supposed to leap around like lunatics in public, you know. My, you look good. Frightfully smart. She held Lindsay at arm's length, taking in the outfit, the brown hair and the dark blue eyes. First time I've ever seen you fail to resemble a jumble sale in search of a venue. Lost weight. It's living off the wits that does it. Food's a very easy economy. No, darling, it's definitely the clothes. Who's the new woman, then? Cheeky sod. There's no new woman, more's the pity. I went and bought this all by myself. At least 6 months ago, too. So there, Miss Callahan. Paddy grinned. All right. I'll take your word for it. Now come along. I'm parked outside. Got to pick up a couple of things from the town library. Then we can shoot back to the school itself and have a quick coffee to wipe away the strain of the train. In the station car park, they climbed into Paddy's battered Land Rover. Not exactly in its prime, but it's...